Hey there, I'm Christine Collins, and I wanted to answer a question for you today that I am frequently asked. And it is in regards to why hypnosis is useful and when you might want to consider using it as a tool. So, the first thing that I want to say to answer that question is something that I think we are not always necessarily aware of, and that is that we are already hypnotized and that we are being hypnotized afresh all the time. And the reason that I say that is because I think that there is sort of this undercover process happening at all times that we're not necessarily cognizant of. And until we become aware of it, we may not be able to see all of the benefits of using a tool like hypnosis. So when I say that we are being hypnotized all the time, I'm talking about beliefs and stories. And the stories that we are carrying at a deep level, below the surface, not necessarily at a conscious level, are the stories that are often informing large swaths of our lives. Now, an example of that story or belief that we may be carrying could be something that formed within us at a very young age. So an example would be we had an experience as a child, we had an experience even in early adulthood of something negative happening. And as a result of that experience, we have formed a conclusion about ourselves or about life in general. Often it will be something like something in particular isn't safe, or something like I am not good at something in particular. I don't have value in this particular way. And it is a belief that is hindering us in some way. So if it is a belief that no matter how hard you work, you'll never be wealthy, what happens when you start to unpack that? We're talking about this as a belief that you are not necessarily aware of, but you're carrying it. If that is your belief, then the way that it begins to inform your choices and your actions and your decisions and your everyday life is, well, if I believe that no matter how hard I work, I'll never be wealthy, then there's not much incentive to work hard. There's not much incentive to do certain things. There's not much incentive to set goals or to pursue activities that might increase wealth because the belief is so fixated that no matter what I actually do, this is something that I cannot change. And so when that belief is informing your life, you're going to make choices and you're going to behave based according to that belief. Another example, if you have a belief that you cannot be loved or that you have bad luck in relationships or something along those lines, then whenever a situation approaches you, you make decisions and behave according to that belief. And what happens is that the belief continues to self-perpetuate because you believe this, therefore whenever something does approach you, you're going to act in a certain way according to that belief. If you believe that you're walking into a room with a group of people who really like you or really love you, you're going to act in a certain way as you enter that room. You're walking in, maybe feeling relaxed, maybe feeling confident, knowing that this person or group of people, they really like you already. So you enter into that experience in a certain way that would be very different from walking into a situation where you already have the belief this person or group of people hate you, really don't like you. You have your guard up. You might be defensive. You might not feel as confident depending on your personality. You might react in, one extreme or the other, where you walk in very defensive and resistant and angry versus you might walk in kind of shy and quiet, all because you originated with the belief that they didn't like you or that this was a hostile environment. So those are examples of how a belief that we've already been hypnotized into informs the way that we act and the way that we make choices and the way that we behave. So if you are carrying a belief related to the success of your business, related to your abilities or your skills, related to your inherent value or worth, you end up making choices and acting according to that belief. And there are many, many examples in which that underlying belief is not serving what you really want. So if that is business success, if it is a belief related to client interest in your work, if it is a belief related to income goals, whatever that belief is related to, it's going to inform everything. And the problem when we are not aware of something like that we're carrying around is we see the results. We see the undesired outcomes that are happening where we're not getting the thing that we wanted, where the goals that we're setting aren't coming true, but we don't necessarily know where we're going wrong. And so often we try to change the external environment. And sometimes that's enough, because if you do change your behavior, even if you're still carrying the belief, you're going to see some benefit. But the real shift happens when you do both. When you change the underlying belief into something more constructive, more positive, more self-affirming, more business success affirming, you're going to have different behaviors, different attitudes, make different choices, and ultimately you're going to see different outcomes. It's also very cognitively clear and logical that when your belief changes, everything else follows. So if your belief that you can or can't do something shifts, and you begin to have more confidence, and you begin to have just that little opening that, yes, this is possible, whereas maybe you thought it was impossible previously, you begin to open that window just enough that when an opportunity comes towards you, instead of shoving it away or behaving in a way that ultimately shuts it down, or making choices that ultimately keep it from approaching you or becoming reality for you, you are going to transform all of that. The behavior, the attitude, the outlook, the choices, and ultimately the results. So there is a process there, and you can change beliefs consciously, and I do have recommended processes and tools and steps for doing it at that conscious level. But what hypnosis does is it begins to shift it for you at a deep level without you having to sit there and do all of that conscious work, without you having to kind of plow through, identify where the belief is, what the belief is, the wording of the belief, the exact linguistics that need to be altered, and then rewrite the belief. I mean, those are things that you can do as well. But hypnosis kind of does the work for you. It goes to that deeper level when you're in that deeply relaxed state. It goes down to your subconscious thought process and begins to shift and alter the belief at that deeper level, which then informs everything else all the way up to the surface. And then when it's really made the transition from I can't do this to okay, maybe it's possible to I can do this, you will begin to see the shifts in the outward world for you very quickly. And that's why I say that hypnosis can begin to make those shifts for you in just one session. It'll open that window. But the more that you practice hypnosis, the more that you're listening to your hypnosis audios, the more and more that window gets wider and wider, and the new belief, the constructive belief gets stronger and stronger for you until you really then begin to see massive changes that are positive towards the things that you're wanting and desiring. So ultimately, when we talk about hypnosis, it isn't just, I need hypnosis for X, Y, or Z reason. It's that there's already been hypnosis. There's already been a belief formed, whether through experience or constant messaging from someone in your life, person, media, culture. We could go on and on. There's lots of ways that we are hypnotized. And if you want to change that, hypnosis is a wonderful, easy and relaxing way for you to do so. So once again, I'm Christine Collins. If you're interested in this or in learning more about hypnosis or the rest of my work, you can check me out at transformcreate.com. And in the meantime, I hope that you have an absolutely magical and creative rest of your day.